Hey guys, welcome back to City Hustle Ladies. So one of our goals with City Hustle is community outreach, but we can't always be out there with you guys. So one of the things that we can do is pray for you. And that's one of the topics we want to talk about tonight is prayer and the power of prayer. So tonight we'd like to share some scripture with you that speaks to us personally about prayer, how to pray, the power of prayer.
For me, the scripture that I chose to share tonight, I think is a very popular scripture. Even for those of you who maybe didn't grow up in church or maybe are unfamiliar to scripture, I think that this is a scripture that is well known. And it's from 1 Thessalonians 5:17, and it literally just says, pray without ceasing. And, I think sometimes we think that the things that we can't just go about our everyday lives and have conversations with Jesus Christ even throughout our day. And this scripture to me is speaking directly to that. So you don't have to necessarily always be in an active prayer, on your knees or whatever the case may be. It could just be you driving your car, just maybe talking to God and having a communication with Him to kind of build that relationship. One of the things that I read in the devotional that I was going through and just talking about prayer says, prayer is a way to communicate with God, to build a relationship with Him and to have an ongoing fellowship with Him. And it's just as simple as that. We underestimate the power of prayer. I think sometimes when we're praying on something and we don't feel that it's being answered, or we don't feel like we're hearing from God, then we just think like, oh, it's really not that great of a weapon for us to be able to use. But it is truly the greatest weapon that we have as Christ followers, to be able to lift others up in His name and to Him. So that's what prayer is for me. And sometimes I forget about it. But that verse speaks volumes to me. Just pray without ceasing. No matter where you are, there's no wrong way or right way to do it. It's just simply thinking about having conversation with God to where you can build that relationship with Him.
Yeah. I know that's what I do. When I pray, it's not a formal prayer or something thought out or anything like that. I pray like I'm talking to my best friend and I just have a conversation with him. I mean, I end most nights when everything's done and settled, and I will end most nights falling asleep just praying to God and just talking to Him about my day, about people that I want to pray for or about, and that's what I do. I just have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants relationship with you. If you can build that relationship with God and just feel comfortable coming to Him with anything. And it even says, sometimes you don't even have to say words. That He knows your heart, and He knows what you're thinking. And I think that it's important to have the ability to be able to come to Him, like even if you're mad, mm-hmm. if you're sad, that's okay. Like it's okay to be mad at God. Just tell Him about it.
Nicole, what was the scripture that you had to share?
I picked Philippians 4:6. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, mm-hmm. by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." And for me, I picked this verse because it's something that I struggle with. I don't pray for myself. I don't know I don't think I've ever prayed for myself, and I've had struggles and health problems and anger issues, and I still never pray for myself. I pray for those around me. I pray for people in the community or events that have taken place, but I never actually pray for myself. And when I read this verse, it kind of told me, do that. Pray mm-hmm. for yourself. Mm-hmm. Regardless of the situation, it's okay. I kind of felt like it's selfish. And I remember a couple Sundays ago, I think it was Pastor Doug had people stand up and say, what is something that you've been working on? Mm-hmm. And I remember someone standing up, and I think it was Rachel Shaw, saying, I pray for myself now, where mm-hmm. I used to not. And that kind of made me realize, wow, I don't do that either. And I still haven't, but it's something that I want to do, and I try to. And this verse just kind of told me it was okay to do that.
Yeah.
I pray for myself all the time, and only and I know that sounds terrible, but to be a better person. How can I help other people? Like, so that's something that maybe you could, like, pray for yourself to be a blessing to other people. Like, that's somewhere to start. You know?
I think I just struggle with the somebody needs it more than me. And I know that sounds weird because we all have our issues and our struggles that we need, but I just feel like I don't want to waste my prayers on me when there's someone out there that's struggling more than me.
There are no wasted prayers, though.
Yeah.
True.
And we're important too. Like,
Right.
and in order for you to be able to bless other people, you know, God blesses us to be a blessing, and that is not just financially, that's spiritually, just walking your walk. When you are just out trying to be a better person, you are in turn making life better for other people. Like, so.
And you need to be in your best frame and health and everything.
Right.
Yeah, I think that is something that's, I think, tough for, I think people forget to do that. They forget to pray for themselves, not even necessarily specifically saying, because I think that somebody else can use it more. But it's just easier when you're writing your prayer lists and you have your prayer journals to write down every single other person. But it's true in the saying that, you know, you have to be, you know, praying for yourself and lifting yourself up. Because although you may think that other people may be praying for you, they may not be, right? Because they may have other things that they're praying for. And so if you're not lifting your own self up to Christ, then who is? You know, and it should start with us too. And I think that it's tough to always think in that mindset of, yeah, let me be praying for myself as well. So.
Yeah, I have a couple different scriptures here. They're actually kind of similar. But in Mark 11:24, it says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." And that is a big deal to me, just because it kind of lets me know that it's okay to pray for my own desires. Now, in that, the important part is for your desires to be God's desires. And that's where it kind of gets tricky, because you don't want to put your will above His. So oftentimes I pray, you know, God, I want your will to be done. Help me to understand what that is. And that's something that I pray for myself. And another one that's similar to that is 1 John 5:14, and it says, "And this is the confidence that we have toward Him, that if we ask anything according to His will, He hears us." And again, it's if we have a desire, kind of placing that before Him, telling Him, you know, this is what I want, help me to figure out how to make this happen. But again, aligning your will with His will. And it's okay to ask boldly for something. It's okay to say, you know what, I really, really strongly desire this. And if it be in you know, aligning with his desires for you, that's okay to ask boldly for something like that. And I think that that's something that kind of helps build your relationship with Him. If you can be open and honest and just lay it out there, like, look, I want this so badly. And I know myself too, I have a hard time praying boldly like that, because I'm always confused about what's my will and what's His. Like, I think that it's Him, and I'm like, but just in case, help me to accept if that's not what you want. So I kind of I put a little clause in there sometimes with my prayers, that's just who I am as a person. It's okay. But being the most indecisive person on the planet, it's okay. But I was telling the ladies earlier, I think the biggest barrier for me in prayer is stopping. Just stop what you're doing and be still. And that's when God can talk to you, is when you get rid of everything else, get rid of all the distractions and the chaos of life, and so you can talk to Him. And then, more importantly, you can listen. Because if you're not sitting still and being able to listen for His voice, you're going to miss it. And that's one of my biggest hurdles and all the chaos that is life is just stopping. You know, you get up as soon as you wake up and you're like, go, 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 go. And you have to constantly remind yourself, like, you need to stop and you need to spend that time with God, because that's a really big deal. And I know for me, I've noticed when I make sure that I set that time aside, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference in my day. It makes a huge difference in, you know, just my thought processes and things like that, and how I go about my day, setting that time aside for Him. So, and I know that you guys probably all struggle with that too. Just stopping and being able to talk to Him and listen.
Yeah, listening to that still small voice. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, as we kind of wrap up this evening, we'd like to hear from you guys on just how we can pray for you. You know, I know that we're not always able to kind of get out there and be in the community every day, but one thing that we know that we can do is we can lift you up in prayer. So if you would just be willing to share some of those requests with us, we'd love to be able to lift you up and pray for you in that way.
Yeah, so if you could comment below this video, and also if maybe it's something you don't want to comment, you could send us a private message on our City Hustle page, and then we'll make sure that we include in the comments, you know, ways that you can reach us privately if you need to do that, and we would really love to pray for you or to pray with you even. So please just let us know.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.